no eye color change thing. So when he's onto the UA entrance exam, he jumps up. When it starts, he says in his head, 150% strength and 150% speed. As he appears right in front of a robot and crushes it with a punch, going as he breaks it. Then he appears behind another one and puts down his heel, breaking it. As he's crushing all over robots with his insane speed, going as he's bouncing around the arena, as he's punching all of them out of there. Bakugo says, "There's no way I can keep up at that speed." As he says, "Hey, eat this!" As he shoots an explosion, going shim bang. But Christian just blitzes around and smacks the explosion back. No, split second, which comes right back at Bakugo and hits his arm. He goes, ugh. As Christian keeps on hitting, bouncing around, placing the first and being the fastest ever, having the most points ever in a UA thing. More than All Might. So, welcome back. So, after that, he goes straight into the Class 1A, and Kirishima says, "Wait, you're the guy who's bouncing around the arena destroying everything." He says, "What's your quirk, man? It's gotta be strong." He says, "I have a limit to my quirk." He says, "Do you mind telling us what it is?" He goes, "My quirk is percentile." He says, then it says, "Christian Kadoku, quirk percentile." His quirk allows him to distribute attribute points throughout his body, which makes, like saying, he could put 150% into his strength and become insanely strong, but he'd need to put a 150 durability on with that so he could control that strength. But he's been able to outmaneuver that and use speed and strength. He still has many more combos to use. So after that, it's time for the 2-on-2 match. So, when it starts, it's him and a boy named Izuku Midoriya versus the Bakugo kid and the Tenya Ida kid. He goes, as he says in his head, 150 in durability and 150 in agility. As he rushes off, as Bakugo goes for explosion, and he bends way back, dodging explosion and kicking Bakugo in the face. He goes, ugh. As Christian wraps a rope around his arm, with Christian's got it, as he ties it to his arm, Bakugo goes for explosion. Christian ducks under it, which makes Bakugo fall with him as he punches Bakugo in the nose. As Christian cuts the rope and blitzes behind Bakugo, kicking him in the head, saying, as Midoriya says, "One for all, full power, Detroit Smash!" As he Detroit smashes Bakugo straight into a wall, which insta KOs him. As Christian blitzes up the room, he says, "Switch attribute points, 150 in speed and keep agility." As he blitzes around the room, tagging it, instantly going, "Hello there, Tenya Ida," as he's already pressed it. He goes, "Your quirk is he says, everyone says, "That quirk's insane." He took down Bakugo, who was actually recommended to UA. There's no way that kid's that strong. Research says he's on the level of a pro. We still don't know the full limits of his quirk. This kid could be stronger than All Might. If he needs to, he could probably surpass All Might in a day. We don't know how the limits of his quirk work, but we do know how the fundamentals are. So if we find out this kid's quirk, he'll be one of the strongest heroes with his quirk percentile. So now moving on to the USJ arc. Then they're on the bus. Everyone is talking to Christian since he's like one of the most popular because of his quick attacks. And somehow how he's so fast. And Christian just explains how his quirk works, but he doesn't. He makes up lies with his quirk so that Bakugo kid can't just read his movements. So when they get there, the villains attack. Christian instantly says 300. He says 300 in speed. As he blitzes at full speed, killing every villain, going as he's already in back of the villains. As they're all drop dead, he goes, reverse attribute points. 150 to strength and keep 150 on speed. As he appears next to Nomu, blasting into a wall with a punch. But it barely even sends it back, actually, he thinks. As Nomu grabs him and breaks his arm, he says... Then he heals his arm randomly with the slapping ons. Well, his arm doesn't break, it just cracks a little bit as he kicks the Nomu back. As he says... As he thinks, I need as much strategy as possible, he thinks to himself... 150% speed and 150% intelligence. As he gets a wave of energy and a wave of way to think how to beat this guy, as he's blitzing around the room. As he finds a weak spot and punches it right there, going, Waboo! As once his quirk upgrades, he'll be able to use more different forms. Then he says, 100% intelligence, 100% strength, and 100% agility. As he kicks the Nomu in the face, then spins around and kicks it again, then barrages it, going... Racer says, this kid's definitely on the level of already a pro. As he appears next to the Nomu, punching into a wall. As he says, everyone is cheering him on as he's absolutely bodying. But then Kurogiri warps Shigaraki in front of them and says, who said you guys could start cheering? I think I'll kill you all. Starting with Invisible Girl. As he grabs Hagakude's neck, but Christian blitzes over and kicks it in the face before he's about to grab her neck. As he kicks Tomura away, going, ah! As Bakugo creates explosions and shoots a giant one at the on the leftover villains. As Bakugo, Todoroki, Midoriya, Kirishima, and Tenya take on the entire thing. And Tokoyami and Rakudo, Tsuyu, Mina, and that's it. Start fighting, and Uraraka start fighting Shigaraki to team up on him. As Christian fighting the Nomu, going, as he says, Christian says, I need a blow. What can I do against this thing? It's way too powerful. My blows are doing stuff, but they're not really that damaging. But then he thinks to himself, all my attributes into one stat. As he says, as he yells out, 300% in strength! As he runs towards the Nomu, and the Nomu and him clash, but he breaks through the Nomu's arm, going, as he breaks the arm, as he uses his right arm to go, and punch the Nomu, killing it. As he killed the Nomu with just a punch, he goes, he says, revert all stats to 0. As he says in his head, and all of his stats are back to 0 as he's back to normal. As he says, as he falls down, being exhausted from overuse of quirk. No one really got injured that time. So moving on to the sports festival. For the first round, of course, it's a thing. A speed round, Christian says 300% in speed. As he blitzes through the landmines. As he's like an invisible person as he's blitzing. As he is. As he's halfway there, everything starts to lose down, he says 150% speed, 150% intelligence. As he gets more intelligence to think what he can do now. And his smartness tells him to probably jump up in the air, to probably grab a piece of the robot and slam it against the ground. As he grabs a piece of metal and slams it on a landmine, as he blasts himself forward, going, ah, as he deactivates his intelligence stat and puts it all in his strength. As now he's on like a tree thing. He swings off a tree at full force, blasting off, going, ah, being in first place. Like Tarzan, motherfucker. Now, everyone in this class has a unique quirk. Everyone, I mean. As he makes it. As he overexhausts himself, as he faints. as he thinks to himself, he's got to fight that Todoroki dude, and it's going to be hard. During the cavalry battle, he basically just bodies it. Now let's go into the one-on-ones. It's him in the first round against Todoroki Shoto. Todoroki shoots ice as he jumps out of the way, going, I won't use any percentages yet. That drains my energy a lot. As he backflips, throwing knives. These knives that somehow pierce through, going tsh, tsh, as he goes perfect. I so want to resume the clone ones. So I'm going to end this here and go do the clone ones.